Okay, today is June 6, 2014. Hope everybody had a great trading week. Let's take a look at the market. On this chart here, I have all the indexes that I follow. Basically the Dow Jones 30, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones Transportation, the Nasdaq 100, and the Russell 2000. You can see that the Dow Jones Industrial and the Transportation, the S&P 500 made it all new time high today, and also the Nasdaq 100 closed with a multi-year new high. And but the Russell 2000 is still a little bit away from its all-time high here. Although it came back up and it is forming a higher high, higher low. So we probably maybe in the coming week or the next few weeks, we probably see the Nasdaq, I mean the Russell 2000 will make an attempt to tag and tag its previous all-time high and attempt to put in a new all-time high. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And as a matter of fact, I think if a lot of you guys that been following me probably have sensed that I've been sort of cautious in the last month and a half or two. But that doesn't mean that I was bearish, because as a matter of fact, I was more net long than actually short. It's just that, when I'm cautious or being a little defensive, I've been talking about shifting to the value stock and the defensive stock. So rather than trading a lot of these high beta stock, I'm basically trading on some of these little bit of a slow mover, less volatile, but it's still, grinding it up. So, it's just a matter of, preference and comfort level, right? And there's nothing wrong if you want to take the risk and go and trade those high beta stock, such as like, Apple. Apple have been doing quite well, but, then also Netflix and that sort of thing. But there are other stock that also put in a similar type of performance with less of the, the ups and down, right? So it's just a matter of individual preference. Right, but right now, with the little bit of a clarity from the market, it seems to be risk is back on a little bit. So it makes it a little bit easier, or at least a little bit more comfortable in going after some of these a little bit more higher beta, high beta stock. But in this video, we're basically going to talk about the market and look at the individual indexes and also the index, and also look at the ETFs, kind of get a gauge of where the market might be heading, for the next week or two, and what to keep an eye out for. Then we sort of have a some sort of a game plan to what's, how we're going to trade stock, and what individual stock that we might want to focus on, to try to capitalize on this move that the market might put in the coming week or so. Okay, so with that said, let's go and take a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500, believe I put out a chart here and saying that, right now it's essentially a book out of this wedge here. Okay, and this isn't all, all new time high, I mean all time new high here. So we really don't have any historical level to go and sort of gauge for possible resistance. And then you can see that right here, essentially, we're basically looking at using the Fibonacci retracement to get some idea. Right now, it's working itself up toward this 161 extension, which is somewhere around the 1956 level. Okay. Then also the other thing, with a single indicator or single method of projecting some sort of a level, it's better than nothing. But if we could get some confluence, then it give us a little bit at least, something to in either in agreement or in disagreement. Then we know, how probable is this particular level is. If we have more traders looking at the same level using a different method, then that particular level will most likely see more action once we reach there. Right. So the other things that I'll also look at is, what we call a symmetry move, okay, or symmetrical move. And you probably have seen it somewhere else from some other trader. I think I don't believe I have talked about it before, but it's basically it's another form of try to get into the probability to say, history have a tendency to repeat itself. Right. So if you look at that when we talk about symmetry, is that we're basically saying, okay, let's take a look at this particular magnitude of the move here, from this level, to this level. And if this particular swing here is starting from this low here, if it's going to make the same amount of, upward movement, then where would that be? So we basically, measure this from this, the same degree of movement. Then it places at 1959. So that's kind of in the confluence near this 161 extension of 1956. So that's the reason why I have a comment here to say, the confluence between the symmetrical move, the major move, and the 161, will give us somewhere near this 1960, right? Rather than try to average it out between 56 and 59, so we're basically somewhere around there. When it get there, I think a lot of people are going to ring the bell and that kind of stuff, so we know, okay? Right? So that's basically how, one way of applying some of these other tool, to basically look for confluence, okay? Not saying that it work every time. It's just that it's kind of give you a little bit better probability to say, it's not that I'm, only the Fibonacci guy is going to looking at this, to come up with this level, but also there's some other trader that looking for these, a symmetrical move type of, analysis, also looking at that similar level, in that vicinity. Okay, and take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial. You can see also the Dow Jones Industrial. We have a Fibonacci move right here, in this swing. And basically, I think a lot of people are going to be staring at that 17,000. So that 17,000 or this level up here at this 141 extension will most likely probably get hit next week. Because we're pretty close to it, right? Right now we only, like today it closed at 16,924, so we are less than 80 points away. Okay, so it just take one good rally of 100 point and we up there, right? To that 17,000. So this 127, this 16,945, and also this 141, 1749. I mean 17,049. Those two level, most likely will be, will be under, not saying attack, will be, probably within reaching distance for the market to tag, okay, next week. And then if we look at the NASDAQ 100, okay, again, the NASDAQ 100, we're also looking at the Fibonacci retracement at 127. That will give us about 38.26, okay, level here, So if we continue to move up, that's basically the next level that we might want to see. Would it be encountering some kind of resistance there? Okay, and then on the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000, we're really looking at, because we were talking about tagging this 13, basically this 1338, 1340, and if it could come up to this level, this particular pivot, somewhere around the 1155, then essentially we're looking for the next pivot level to be somewhere up here that it might hit this 1181. Then progressively just going to move up, hitting all these pivot level, and hopefully that in due time it will come up and tag this previous all-time high and then put in a new all-time high. Okay, so if we take a look at the spider, the ETF for the S&P 500, again we're essentially looking at this 196 level, the 161 extension. That could be possible target for next week. And then the diamond, we're essentially looking for that 169 and possibly this 170 up here. This 170.447, the 141 extension, the 127 extension here. Okay, so that's for next week. And then the Q, we're essentially looking at the somewhere around this maybe the 93.50. See again, I basically have a bull flag here. Essentially, let me take this out, and we have a little flag here. And if I just doing the Fibonacci retracement. And we're basically getting this 127 extension at the 93.50, 93.54, somewhere around there. But then if we have this little bull flag here and then we do a major move. So let me go and do this major move here. So this right here, and then come back. So let me just kind of move that over. So you can see that the 618 is somewhere around this 93.54 also. So we got a little confluence here. So this level could be pretty much the a little bit of a possible target. Then if we exceeded that target, this 78.6, basically like 80% of the major move of a bull flag, then essentially put us somewhere around this 94, 33 area, which is a little bit of a confluence with this 141 extension, 94.70. So again, we get a little bit of confluence that kind of give us a little bit more confident about those level that there might be some price action there. Okay, not saying that it will. It's just that just give us a little bit more likelihood that that we could expect to see some action. Right. And then the IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF, again, we essentially was talking about, getting up here, past that 113, and then we get the pivot on this 115. So today it kind of broke through that 115. Now we're essentially looking at this 117 here. And if we get to that 117, then we're essentially going to look at this pivot of 118 and then possibly this 119, 120 and get up here and essentially put in a new closing all-time high. Okay, so essentially that's what the market looked like. There are some possibility on the upside, and essentially, I wouldn't be shorting the market right now, even though that we might get a little bit of a pullback because it's been running for quite a pretty strong in the last few days. As a matter of fact, for this week, because you look at the the SPY, the spider, it's just kind of like a non-stop freight train. It just run straight up. So if we get a little bit pullback, that wouldn't be surprising. But again, with Apple splitting the stock, that should attract some new retail buyer, and that might push, Apple up a little bit. Okay, and because of these new buyer coming in, and so then after that we probably get a little bit of a profit taking correction and that sort of thing. So we probably see a little bit of an upside and then pull back a little bit after hitting some of these milestones. Then determine what transpire. We're not going to call it a top yet or that kind of stuff, but definitely I think we are in that final phase of putting in the top because you can see the acceleration of the move. It's more like a parabolic type of move now. Right? Remember a while back I was talking about, the top we are expecting to see a little bit of a climatic type of move, kind of spike up. And right now it looks like it is sort of forming or preparing that type of a movement. Okay, so we get this big spike up, and everybody that need to or want to get in will get sucked in. And then once everybody is in, then we will start this game all over again by reversing back down, and and so basically it's the rinse and repeat type of process, wholesale retail type of thing. So anyway, when we get to that point, we worry about it. But right now, the market seems to be telling us to stay with the trend, and the trend is up. So be selective. Don't be too aggressive because the we are it's not at the 9 ending, but maybe it's in the late 7 ending or the early 8 ending. So we got to be prepared for that. Okay, so. Going to put up another video later on this weekend, and we'll talk about some of the stock and maybe kind of give you a little bit more idea of what to look for in the coming week. Okay, enjoy your weekend.